Right then, guys and girls, what is going on? Welcome back to the GolfMagic YouTube channel. I'm Alex, and today you're joining me for a very exciting video. Now, golf balls. I could talk about golf balls for hours on end, but no one really talks about the technology behind golf balls by alignment, and today we're going to deep dive straight into it with a very, very impressive golf ball brand. Now, Callaway are an unbelievable brand for a lot of products, but golf balls, they've really stepped it up a notch in the last few years. One piece of technology that they have introduced in some of their golf balls is this thing right here, triple track technology. What is it, you may ask? Well, in layman's terms, three little lines right here, a big red line and two small blue lines. Now you might be thinking, Alex, why are you talking about this? What is there to do with these three lines that make you a better golfer, a better putter? Well, Callaway say this can improve your putting and does improve your putting by at least 27% if you start using triple track technology. We're going to deep dive into triple track technology, but first of all, in this video, we're going to talk to Jason Finley, the Director of Product and Brand Management at Callaway over in the United States, to talk all things triple track. Because right now, I think we all need to understand a little bit more about triple track technology and how it works. There is a lot of thought and research that's gone behind these three lines. Don't believe me? Well, let's talk to Jason right now and see what all the fuss is about. So Jason, for people that aren't aware, can you just explain to me briefly what triple track technology is?
Yeah, so triple track technology is a key, technology for us here at Callaway that we have on all of our Chrome soft models and also the ERC soft model, which really allows the golfer to have better alignment. So that can mean many things to players of how that would happen. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if a golfer is aligned better, they're going to have a better chance to make more putts, particularly around the greens. But certainly in the off the tee, it can be beneficial as well. We've seen that. So. But the primary benefit is going to be around the green, and it's either going to allow the golfer to aim it closer to the hole or improve their alignment, because that could be, different things for different golfers.
With the term alignment, we've seen alignment aids all quite simply on golf balls. Obviously, you've got the one line, you've got various different things.
Yeah,
it seems that triple track technology is actually quite different from that. Can you explain how these three lines are actually so different from what we've seen before?
Yeah, so the science behind triple track is really rooted. Dr. Carl Bassi at the University of Missouri St. Louis really developed this technology, thinking about the science of hyperacuity, and really what you benefit from is not only the width and spacing of the lines, but the color. And I would say that the differentiation in that color, right? So just giving yourself one line is certainly beneficial, but we've seen a significant benefit with the three lines. And the way I like to use this as an analogy is, if you try and line up a sword on a wall, it's hard to do. If you line up a picture on a wall, because there's two edges to that picture, it's going to be a little bit easier than that sword, just because there's multiple lines. So adding that third line and the difference in those lines is where you really start to see some of the benefits. And even in the, if you think about like aircraft carriers landing on an airplane, it's a very similar visual to what you would see there. So, it's not just one line is, it's not to say that three lines is better than one. For many, it could be, but it's all in the way your eyes work. And one of the most interesting things that we've seen and gotten feedback on with triple track is golfers talking about, over time, they actually train themselves to use it more and more. I've had this conversation with Dr. Alan Hocknell that runs R&D for us here. And, one of the things that we've both experienced is now, using triple track, and then actually, if we, are testing a ball that doesn't have it, for example, we're used to it now, and we've actually trained ourselves to using triple track, and we've gotten better as a result of that. So, we've seen on any given week, anywhere from, a third to half of our staff on the PGA Tour has triple track technology in play. And And even Phil Mickelson, as an example, may not use it every single time, but he really leverages it on the short, straighter putts is where he leverages it more than anything else.
As you mentioned about design, I think it's important to note the colours on the triple track of the red and blue. What is the significance of this? Because I assume we wouldn't push off on a tangent and go to other colours. The red and blue is here to stay, isn't it?
Most likely, I think, you know, where we a lot early on worked with the team, including Dr. Carl Bassi, who I mentioned before. What works best is high contrast colors. Right. And what they found was red and blue, blue and green, even red and green were big benefits and provided the best results. Certainly, you know, we've looked at plenty of other colors and done a lot of testing and research with golfers as to which ones were the most visually helpful and where we saw the biggest differentiation in performance. And certainly where we saw the biggest difference was in the red and blue and the red and green. So, you know, unfortunately, red and green is a very it can look very holiday themed really quickly if you're not careful. So that's where we landed on the red and blue.
Makes sense. Red and green is rather Christmassy, so I think red and blue is a good one.
Yeah.
You mentioned the tour feedback, or Phil Mickelson specifically. These balls are essentially, when we put it on paper, it's just 3 lines, but it's very clear from the R&D team that this has taken a lot of research. With Phil and all the players, what has the feedback been like on tour with this?
Yeah, I think, you know, you have certainly seen a trend over time of lines being more and more popular on tour, for sure, and with tour players. Specific to Phil, I think one of the most important things that he provided to us when we first showed him the concept, because he's been a, you know, what I would call a line guy for a very long time. So when we started working on this, he was one of the first ones we actually showed the technology to. And he was probably the biggest inspiration for why the logo treatment on the golf ball is actually a little bit different than our standard. And you see the name kind of below the Callaway logo, the name of the product. The first samples we had what we would call the side stamp, which is what you would typically see on our Callaway golf balls, and the triple track technology on the other side. And he said, I love the technology benefit here, but I actually don't use the line every single time. So I wouldn't want to I want that white space still on the one side of the golf ball. So that's why we moved the logo placement there, because you have to have that for USGA and R&A rules. And he said, you know, on a longer breaking putt, for him, he is more about, you know, thinking about picking a spot in speed control rather than his alignment. So he wants to actually have nothing there. So he wants that plain white visual and wants to focus on his actual speed rather than the specific alignment feature there. So that's actually was the inspiration for why we moved the logo there in that example.
Wow, that's really interesting. They just want some white space for it.
Yeah, but, you know, certainly, you know, Francisco Molinari, Dylan Fratelli, you know, particularly as we moved it into putters, even, and we have, you know, putter models with triple track. Some people love the combination of the two. Some like it better on the ball. Some like it better on the putter. So it's really a key technology for us here at Callaway.
Yeah. We talked quite a lot about putting. We also said there could be other benefits for it outside of putting as well, maybe lining it up on the tee. What can you tell me about that? Like, you say it's beneficial for someone to line it up on the tee, or is that more just personal preference?
I think it's personal preference. We haven't done as much testing in that area. But, you know, one of the things is we've obviously done a lot of, you know, research and gathered feedback from golfers across the board, whether tour players or regular everyday golfers. And the things that we hear about it, let's call it outside of putting, is particularly off the tee, where some use it to aid them in kind of a swing path reminder, I'll call it. And some are also using it to absolutely, physically aim themselves to a target as well. So I would say both are benefits to the golfer when it comes to, off the tee in particular.
If you guys at Callaway can essentially create a golfer that would benefit the most from triple track technology, who would you think this would be? Who do you think this technology would benefit the most? Is there a certain person, or is it literally any golfer, any handicap range, by putting the triple track in play would benefit them?
From a, if you're asking me for which handicap golfer or which skill level golfer, I think it kind of, would cover the entire golfing population there. I think the ones that we've seen benefit the most from it are those that struggle with their alignment, particularly around the green, right?
Right.
But certainly if a player uses an alignment technology, and whatever that may be, they're going to feature or like triple track better because it's more beneficial to any other alignment feature that we've found. So it's kind of across the board. I would say it helps all golfers, but particularly those that like alignment features in general. You have some that just don't want to use it, right? They talk about pace of play. They talk about not wanting to think about it too much. I'll use a personal anecdote. I had a triple track putter for a little while as well, and I'm a big believer in it with the golf ball, and it became too much for me, right? So it was lining up the golf ball, lining up the putter, and it almost became too much for me to focus on. And many would say I'm a pretty simple-minded guy, and it became too much for me on the golf course, and I thought it just became too much for me. So I'm really a big user of the golf ball. And as I said, the conversation I was having with Alan, I fortunately get a lot of chance to test prototype golf balls, and we may not put triple track on some of the earliest samples. And I find myself kind of lost without it now, to where, if I don't have triple track, I'm like, what do I do when I get to the green and hitting those putts?
I love that. All right, last question for you, Jason, with this. With a project like this for golf balls, it's always interesting to see how it evolves in time from 1 year to 5 year. What can you tell me about the future of triple track technology? What plans do you guys have for it?
Yeah, so we continue to test different concepts around this area, right? So as we do with any technology, it's always what's next. And certainly, we're not going to bring out something just and change it just for the sake of changing it. But certainly we're looking at, what's next and how can we make it better? Just like we're doing in any product category. So, we're nothing specific to talk about yet, but certainly there is a lot of work being done on how do we evolve it, how do we make it better, and that's anywhere from different alignment principles to different colors to thicknesses to all those things are things that we're looking at.
Well, there you have it, guys. First of all, thank you, Jason, for that chat about triple track technology. It's very interesting to see the thought process behind it, what these three lines mean, and the future for triple track. Now, I've used triple track a bit, but I think for myself, for you guys watching, I think I should try it out a little bit more. From putting to full swings, you know what? Let's just do a full round of golf with triple track technology, really put it to the test and see if it can improve my game. Myself, I'm a decent putter. Okay, you got me. I'm an awful putter, so this can help me quite a lot. We're going to test it out in some fun conditions and see if I can perhaps shoot under par with the triple track golf ball. So keep your eyes peeled for a video very, very soon to see if I can do just that. If you guys have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like down below. And if you guys are new to the GolfMagic YouTube channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button as well to keep up to date with all of our videos, from brand reviews, challenges, you name it, we've got it to keep you guys entertained for all of 2021. Myself, Callaway, and Triple Track Technology will see you at the next video.